Neta Meidav, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to be inspired by you in our next session here, where the work you've done is really remarkable. I just shared with you a second ago how remarkable I think it is, because I truly believe that. And I think it's very entrepreneurial. I think it's high impact, and I think it really speaks to the nature of this unity of United Nations coming together and every person pulling their weight, but you're actually acting as a platform for that. So I'm especially excited about platforms in the startup ecosystem, and now you're bringing this platform play also to this united effort. So thank you again for agreeing to be here. I know how busy you are. Tell me a little bit about yourself in general. Who are you, Neta? What are you doing the day today?
I'm Neta. I'm co-founder and CEO of Vault Platform. Vault is the all-in-one digital platform for employee reporting, corporate investigations, and data analytics, which enables employees to speak up in ways that feel comfortable and confident for them to do so, and to raise any ethical breaches, ESG violations of any kind, misconduct. A lot of corruption and fraud are being reported through our platform. And it enables companies to identify repeated patterns, historical patterns, and to investigate these cases effectively and immediately through means that just weren't available to them prior. And finally, to understand the health of their business from an ethical standpoint and viewpoint. So, yeah, that's Vault.
Beautiful. We all see how, how much respect and attention has been given to human resources and employee engagement and employee retention over the last at least, I think, several years. So obviously the ability to provide a platform for them to speak up and to get them to engage with these considerations was remarkable. Before we get into the war, I was just at an event with the CEO of Cloudflare, and he mentioned how he spent so much of his time working on engaging with employees to get them to trust him so that they report to him when they see something going wrong, because he realizes that is the number one big thing that's on his plate as a large enterprise. Not going to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about October 7th, because and we'll talk about that in a separate context. You've done really meaningful work there. Where were you on October 7th, 6:30 a.m.?
Yeah, so October 6th, I landed in Israel, which is where I'm based for the last 2 years. So started the company out of London and moved to Israel about 2 years ago. October 6th, I landed from Chicago from a large conference for my industry. October 7th in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, my girls woke me up that there is a funny sound outside that they don't recognize. My daughters, unlike many Israeli children, are not accustomed to the sound of sirens because they grew up in London. And I, feeling very jet-lagged and not really sure, what time of the day it is, I paid no attention. I thought I didn't even realize what I'm hearing myself. But then within an hour, there was, or maybe even less, there was an additional siren, additional alarm. And this time when they jumped on my bed, I realized what's happening. I was in my pajamas and I just shouted, down to the shelter now, let's go. And they didn't understand what I'm talking about. I grabbed my keys, grabbed my phone, went down to the shelter, and that was our first experience as an Israeli family through those sirens. Starting to kind of realizing what I'm hearing, what's happening. The third one went off within an additional hour, and with the news kind of starting to come from all over, it felt very quickly we understood that whilst the country's attention, or Tel Aviv's attention, was given to the rocket attack, actually something far more grave and terrible is happening down south. And piece by piece, minute by minute, we realized just how terrible it is. But of course, the true scale of this disaster wasn't clear until much later that day.
Of course, and actually also in the unfolding of the next couple of days, I think we've all came to understand what really is happening, and this is not, and it's far beyond what we've experienced. Definitely our generation. It's way too similar to that of previous generations, unfortunately. And so, every person thinks to themselves what they're going to do and how they're going to react. You're running a company. But what you've been doing over the last few weeks, besides running a company, has also been coming together and in an effort to be a significant part of the war. So tell me a little bit about how Stand with Israel and how Tech4Israel unfolded over these few weeks.
So first of all, I would say it wasn't side by side with running a company. It was completely instead. I'm now coming back to work, but it's been 2 weeks that I need to be very thankful to my London-based team that just I could completely delegate and rely very heavily on my people and on my team to just hold the fort, because it was clear that I mean, of course, yes, there was the volunteering, there was these projects, but the grief and the shock were completely crippling in ways that I haven't experienced. And, as a founder, I went through COVID, I went through a lot of things. I led financial downturn, I went through SVB, crashing down. I think, I had my share of crises. This was something like on a whole other scale that just completely paralyzed me, I have to say. But this feeling of vulnerability and helplessness is really something that drove me and so many others to action. I think this is how we deal with it, right? Like when we feel so helpless, all we can think about is how we help and what do we do and how we channel our energies and the things we're good at and are into action. And so that's what we started to see really very much on scale with the tech community in Israel. I was already part of many groups that were very well organized even before the war, because we had the protest groups against the judicial overhaul. Okay. So there was a lot of already infrastructure there. There were communities that were already created, working and knowing how to work together with people you never met, you don't know, but you're working together towards a cause. And that spirit was very much already there, ready for us to kind of embark on. So what we've done is we've completely diverted Tech for Democracy, which was the names of the prior name of our community, which includes about 500 heads of companies across all stages in Israeli tech, and we've just completely channeled it into action. And within days, all these initiatives exploded, and the things that were put forward were pretty incredible. So I decided to focus my time on, we all need to know. I'm sure you know, Michael, how to fundraise. We all need to have that basic skill in order to be where we're at. Kind of channel those skills and learn about the world of donations, because we understood that what we need right now is to just mobilize large amounts of capital.
Have you raised the donations before this?
No, so I'm pretty new to the world of philanthropy, and I had to learn really, really quickly. But
well, not anymore. Not
anymore. I know a lot about how to get a tax deductible donation and out of the U.S. today, which is definitely not something, and knew very little about the third sector or the charity world at all. But it was just really, really clear that what we need to do right now, at the scale of what we're facing, is just to ensure that capital keeps flowing into where it's needed most, and in real time. So, quick, I don't even know how it happened. I just started running with. I got phone calls from people I know, from wealthy individuals in the U.S. asking me,
how can I help?
How can I help? I want to write a check. Where does it go? I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know how you can do this. And then going back into my community, we start organizing ourselves around these initiatives. I need to say a big, just to kind of hats off to companies like Wix and Monday and many others, large Israeli companies who made all their talent available. Everyone were just free to work on any volunteering initiative that they want for a good amount of time. And so we got together, groups of people, teams that never worked together before, to solve a problem and to solve it quickly. And that's how it all came about.
Incredible. Okay, so took leadership. Obviously, you're a leader by nature, and that's what you do. You said before a sentence something like, when shit hits the fan, or you didn't use that phrase. That's my phrase. People come together and they do what they can to help. That's not always the case. Not everywhere in the world. This is a special case where it is happening, and you're an example of that. And I'm very
it's
proud.
a coping mechanism. That's all it is. I really think that's a coping mechanism with it.
Perhaps, and I think it's more than that. I think that I think that in light of, you mentioned that you took groups that were already organized for the protest, and then for those that are unaware, because we have an international audience here, we had obviously political turmoil for the months leading up to this massacre and this war, and effectively the whole the dissonance is that the groups that you're talking about, they were formed in part of a big crisis internally. With the fragmentation within the Israeli society, and all of a sudden you're transitioning that same group into something that the entire nation is coming together with, and I think that's beautiful. But going back to the donations, and tell me a little bit about the platform that you've built, the solution you've built, how the team formed, and what is the impact that this has had over just the last, I guess, 15 days or so.
Yeah,
it's just been 2 weeks. So what's been happening with Stand With Israel?
right. So Stand With Israel was kind of one initiative leading into another. Stand With Israel is something really, really proud of. Started this with a wonderful guy called Amit Sabag and an amazing team of volunteers out of Wix. And so we started this platform which enables donations to all the listed Israeli foundations that are open to donations from abroad. So it's an aggregator website that aggregates all those charitable foundations, including Israel's biggest hospitals, including the biggest NGOs, anyone who is active and has an active role in the war and providing aid and support and relief. It enables any donor to choose a cause that is close to their heart, and there's much smaller foundations there as well. We're seeing a lot of money flowing into mental health right now. Obviously, the mental trauma that many Israelis are experiencing is immense, and PTSD will become a huge issue, unfortunately, in our country for children and adults alike. And so,
100%.
And so, it really enables people to choose kind of a cause of choice, and to enable charitable foundations. One of the amazing things we've done here, especially for the U.S. audience, for the U.S. donors, is we connected Stand With Israel with an infrastructure that allows people very quickly to donate through their donor advisor funds. And for that, I need to just also give a big shout out to Chariot, a U.S.-based startup that we started working with that enables donors to choose a foundation and with 2 clicks just release money out of their donor advisor fund directly into the foundation of choice. So we know that already the overall sums that were collected through our platform are millions of dollars already kind of flowing directly into those foundations. Actually, we believe we're closer to tens of millions at this point. And we're just making it easy as much as possible for people to donate where they want to and to whom they want to. So that was the first initiative. The second initiative is called Tech4Israel, website being Tech4Israel.com. And this is a special initiative that we started with leading figures in Israeli tech. So we have few very prominent CEOs and VCs in this initiative. And essentially what it is also a channel or a vehicle for outside donations to come into Israel. We're focusing on large donations on behalf of other foundations, family offices, high net worth individuals, and companies. And what we're doing here is we have visibility over ad hoc real-time needs as they evolve and as they come to us on a daily basis needs that sometimes cannot be met by the large foundations, cannot be met by the large nonprofits.
Give me a couple of examples just to water the ears.
We need to find 100 mattresses for members of one of the kibbutzes that were evacuated down in the south, so that so that we can house them. We need to send to sponsor psychological services to children in one of the hotels where another kibbutz is being.
And the reason why they can't go to the large nonprofits is because.
So look, the nonprofits are doing amazing work. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but they have a mandate of what it is they can and cannot sponsor. They have a process. They have their own agenda, and they do their work. Now, I want to be very, very clear. I think it's amazing that these NGOs, these foundations, these hospitals have now got really incredible amount of charitable donations that will allow them to rebuild themselves for the long term. And that's incredible. What at Tech4Israel we're focused on is the needs of today. How can we meet the needs of today and of tomorrow in order to provide relief that is immediate? We already have a slogan, and that is immediate impact, zero overhead. So there are no salaries being paid. There's no overhead at all. We are a very quick, direct channel from donor to impact at no time. That's basically what we want to enable.
Beautiful. Can you share with me a little bit about the volume? Some examples of what's been happening over the last 2 weeks? With the context, 2 weeks. By the time this is going to be published, it'll be, I guess, 3 weeks, and so things will change. But today, October 23rd, where are we at?
Yeah, so millions were already donated single-handedly through this platform. It is currently we haven't gone very wide with it. We will. At this point, we opened it up.
Millions. That's a lot.
It's a lot of dollars. At this point, we opened it to our networks and so again, the biggest funds in Israel and some of the most prominent CEOs are there. We can talk about specific names, but names that everyone knows are like the shining stars of the Israeli tech ecosystem. At the end of the day, the idea is that through these networks, knowing who stands behind this fund, we are all channeling our energies right now in order to just offer as much relief as possible.
And I think that why this project I think is so important, especially in the context of this series, is that it's not only are you on a personal level exemplifying the idea of coming together, stopping what we're doing, united effort in this context for everybody, but also your platform. That's what it does, right? Your platform enables the unification of people around the world, particularly around. It sounds like the U.S. And connect them to have them also be able to give their own effort. So I think that it's a double, it's a double layer of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
It feels like a little drop in the sea. Again, I think we're all just doing what we can. And the next frontier is to get the world's attention and to ensure that we have the support that we need to win this, because there's no other way. There's no other way.
There's just no other way. And that's 100%. Netta, I want to thank you. I really want to think this was phenomenal, inspiring. And again, I think it's truly an example of a shining example of exactly the mentality that I want to capture in what's happening here, and what has been so inspiring for me in my own efforts, but in the efforts that I've been observing around. So thank you very, very much. Continue making a positive impact. I'm still, we glossed over it, but the fact that you technically, you said you delegated and you were able to focus on this solely for 2 weeks. I know as a CEO what that means for a startup. That's not trivial, and that's I think it also speaks to the how probably your qualities as a CEO were that you were able to do that.
I think it speaks to the qualities of my team, and I think, and that's, and that is something I'm incredibly proud of. But just back to your point about unity, I think what our society has demonstrated in the last 2 weeks, and how we yet again rise from the rebels, and we do that as one people. I think we've shown again how powerful we can be.